It's a short career being a footballer. You get paid handsomely to kick a piece of leather around the pitch for a few years, so you might as well make the most of it. However, let's take a look at 7 players who probably retired before they should have. Eric Cantona. It was always a pleasure to watch Eric Cantona play football, although you were taking a slight risk if you chose to sit in the front row. When he wasn't impaling drunk hooligans with his size 12s, Cantona was usually strutting around the Old Trafford pitch, collar flicked and terrifying defences. He'd signed for Manchester United in 1992, leaving behind a very angry Leeds United support at Elland Road, and went on to win 4 league titles and 2 FA Cups, before informing Sir Alex Ferguson of his decision to retire 24 hours after the 1997 Champions League semi-final defeat to Borussia Dortmund. The Frenchman has since claimed that while he sometimes feels regret at retiring at the age of 29, he no longer had the passion to go to bed early, not to drink, and to give up the things he enjoyed in life. King Eric has since spent time starring in some very questionable adverts. Zinedine Zidane. Zinedine Zidane was arguably the star of the 2006 World Cup, even at 34 years of age. The Frenchman practically dragged his country to the World Cup final, and it seems sad that his last act on a football pitch was to sink his skull into an opponent's chest. Shown a red card for responding to Materazzi's insults about his sister, it would prove to be his final game as a professional footballer. Zidane would surely have been a shoo-in for the Ballon d'Or had he just kept his cool and helped his country to a penalty shootout victory. Within a week of his retirement, Zidane took to the press to issue an apology, but that he still did not regret smashing Materazzi to the floor. I'm confused as well. Hidetoshi Nakata. Hidetoshi Nakata is one of the greatest Japanese footballers of all time, having been nominated for the Ballon d'Or on 3 occasions and representing his country at 3 World Cups. However, after a decade-long career, Nakata decided to hang up his boots in July 2006 at the age of 29. The playmaker just spent the 05-06 season at Bolton Wanderers, so it kind of shows you what playing under Sam Allardyce for a season will do for you. The former Roma star was once an £18 million transfer to Parma. Considering this happened in 2001, you can only imagine what he'd be worth in today's market, especially when Kyle Walker is worth £50 million. At least he bowed out at the top. No, not the Reebok Stadium, but at the World Cup, being named man of the match against Croatia, before shocking the world and walking away from the sport, claiming that football had just become a big business, having grown tired of playing just for money and not for the sake of fun. The Japanese David Beckham has since gone into fashion modelling and entrepreneurship. David Bentley. Speaking of the Japanese David Beckham, let's take a look at the English David Beckham. Well, another one. David Bentley was tipped for big things ever since he broke through at Arsenal, before moving on to Blackburn Rovers. He seemed to model himself on Beckham, from his set pieces to his hair and even his name. The only thing is, I can't remember Beckham sneaking around England training camps with Jimmy Bullard, ordering in fast food and telling Fabio Capello that he looked like Postman Pat. During the mid-2000s, the Tottenham midfielder was not shy in claiming that he was there to take Beckham's place, and then it happened. He scored twice in 42 appearances at White Hart Lane, destroyed his relationship with his manager quicker than you could say ice bucket, was booted out on several unsuccessful loans, including one to Russia, before he finally gave up trying to recapture his love for the game, calling it quits in 2014 at the age of 29. He cited the game as having become too robotic, wistful for the days when Ray Parder might have chopped up his clothes, or Robbie Savage would have driven his car off a bridge. You know, football, lad banter. He's since become a co-owner of a restaurant in Spain. Patrick Kluivert. If there's one lesson Patrick Kluivert will want to pass down to his son, it's to not end up washed up in his early 30s like he was. During the 90s, Kluivert was a star, having become the youngest ever player to score in a Champions League final when he downed AC Milan at just 18 years of age. A prolific goal scorer for both Ajax and Barcelona, things took a turn for the worse when he ended up at Newcastle in 2004, finding it difficult to dislodge the club's greatest striker of all time from the starting lineup. What did he expect? He enjoyed 3 more transfers before retiring, but only scored 8 league goals in 39 games for Valencia, PSV and Lille. Hanging up his boots in 2008 at the age of 31, what happened to the Dutchman with 40 goals for his country? Paul Scholes. Remember when Paul Scholes retired in 2011 at the age of 36, leading to Sir Alex Ferguson to desperately scour the transfer market for another midfielder? And when he couldn't find one, well, apart from Tom Cleverley, went back to ask the Englishman out of retirement 6 months later. During the 11-12 season, Scholes went back on his retirement plans and went on to win another league title with the club, playing 42 games before retiring for good in May 2013. Sebastian Deisler. The tale of Sebastian Deisler's retirement is quite a sad one. Once billed as the next superstar of German football, Deisler's career ended in 2007 after just 9 years. The man was only 27 years old and had been riddled with injuries, having failed to recover from a cruciate ligament sustained during his 5-year spell at Bayern Munich. He had struggled to cope with the pressures surrounding his move to Bavaria in 2002, with injuries having hampered his arrival, and he even began seeking treatment for depression in a Munich clinic from November 2003. He would go on to rejoin the squad but suffered a relapse in October 2004. When he finally hung up the boots 3 years later, he claimed that he felt exhausted, had no confidence left in his knee, and felt that he just wasn't cut out for professional football. Considering he'd been one of Europe's hot properties while at Borussia Mönchengladbach, with 26 clubs courting his signature in 1999, it was a sad end to what was once such a promising career. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and also check out HITC 7s.